Hi everybody! So today we are doing this year's entry in my Did the Right One Win? This is my series that I did going over all of the previous animated Best Picture Oscar winners and looking and seeing if I felt the right film won. All of the years that I went through in the playlist I'll put in the box below. So let's talk about 2017 Oscars and do I think the right film won? This is talking about animated films, and so I think that the animated films this year were pretty good. All 5 of them. I like all of them. There wasn't really if it were me, I think I would take out Zucchini and I would put in Your Name. I understand why they did what they did because you'll see when I talk about Zucchini, but I think that Your Name was just so special and so beautiful and did so many different things right that I wish it had been nominated. I think it's the better film, but it's not like Zucchini or any of these are bad films, and so I don't feel badly about that. First one I'm going to talk about is the Kubo and the Two String. From Laika Studios. They almost always get nominated for their films, and rightfully so. And this one really traversed new ground in the world of stop motion animation. The way they used robotics, the size of the stop motion animation, the way they were able to use water, the way they were able to use just creating the paper and the effects was just mind-blowing, really amazing. There are definitely some things that you can criticize about the story and the way that it kind of meanders around a little bit, and also for me the biggest problem I had with the movie was I felt like it should have ended about 10 minutes sooner, and I think it would have been better. I think the ending's a little bit weird, what they do to the grandpa, and I think it would have been a little bit more powerful if he had had sort of this true bittersweet, kind of more tragic ending, but the way they end it, they kind of have to make it a little bit more like, they kind of have to add this thing with his parents to make it like everything's okay and everything's gonna be good. And I think if they just maybe had the guts to end it on just a little bit more of a bittersweet ending, I think I would have liked it a little bit better. But I loved this movie, and this was my 16th favorite movie of the year, and so that's saying a lot. The thing I think I liked the most about Kubo and the Two Strings is I just loved Kubo. He was such a wonderful character. Every time he would smile, it would make me want to smile. He was just so hopeful and optimistic and happy, and I like those kinds of characters. The next nominee is My Life as Zucchini.
A really nice place with other kids who have no mom or dad. This little man is Ikar.
My name is Zucchini.
More like a potato with that head.
But she's just cruel. Then I won't let you go.
Come on, everyone! Snowball fight! Girls versus boys! Yay!
Mom's so pretty. Maybe she's not his mom.
So stop motion, but this was made in Switzerland, and this movie is a very weird movie. It's a good movie, and the stop motion is impeccable, wonderful, beautiful, great, but one of the weird things about it is that most movies that are for adults that are animated are like clearly in the style of a film for adults, like Anomalisa, for instance. It looks like a movie for adults. Whereas this, it looks like a movie for kids. It looks like something you'd see on like Nickelodeon or something like that. But then it's definitely not for kids when you actually watch it. And I think that's just different, and it could be different in a good way. It's also just kind of like hard for me to sort of absorb, I admit it. And then the other thing that was challenging, I'm not saying this is necessarily bad, it was just challenging, is that boy, like, there are shocking things that happen. And then there's shocking things that happen to children. And it hurts your heart because you know that these kind of horrible situations and this kind of abuse and this kind of treatment happens to kids all the time, and that there are, you know, these kids in foster care and these kids that deal with abuse and being manipulated and both abuse, both physically, mentally, and sexually, unfortunately. And I'm not saying that we get all of that in this, but you definitely get some horrible treatment of children in here. And I guess also because it is so cute, it was just hard. Next entry in the nominees for Best Anime Film is Moana.
The ocean chose me for a reason. Come on!
I am falling! Worth a shot.
And you guys all know I've talked about Moana a lot. I think this is like my 5th video that I've done or something where I've extensively featured Moana. And Moana is the latest Disney animated classic, and it really follows sort of an Odyssey-like adventure of this character who, what I really liked about Moana is that she's not somebody who is seeking her own happiness or her own success or anything like that, like you would get with an Ariel or even a Belle, really, that you have her, that she is only decides to sort of disobey her father when as a last resort to help her people, and she's trying to redeem her people. There's sort of a desperation in her that I really love, and then she goes on this adventure and she faces these obstacles kind of like Odysseus did in the Odyssey. And I thought that the different obstacles were very unpredictable and were really fun. I really liked Tom and Toyo, and the Shiny song was hilarious and just really unexpected and different. I really like Maui as a character. I think there's a heart to him and a depth to him that you don't necessarily expect with this kind of character. He's sort of a wounded character. I loved his interaction with his tattoos. It was so creative. It's so wonderful. I love the animation. I love the water is so beautiful. I thought Hey was hilarious. The other comic relief was really funny. I think that if you're going to fault the film, then it is a fairly formulaic film. I don't have a problem with that, but that is something about the film that people have criticized. And it's not like it does anything super new like Your Name did, which was just so inventive in its screenplay. But I think that the songs are so good by Lin-Manuel Miranda and the other team behind it. And Mark Mancina with the score was great. And Ale Cavallo, incredible vocal work. What a find in her. She is just going to be huge, I think. Wow. The next nominee is Zootopia.
36 hours left. We can only solve it together.
It's not about how badly you want something. It's about what you are capable of.
I am a real cop.
Never let them see that they get to you bunnies. So emotional.
No! Do not let go!
I'm gonna let go!
What?
We may be evolved, but deep down, we are still animals.
Actually not that looking forward to. I hadn't been that impressed with the trailers. I thought it looked okay, but I was very concerned that it would be a whole bunch of puns like Chicken Little, and that I wouldn't like it, but then it came out and I loved it. I thought that it had such a heart to it, and I loved Judy as a character. I think she was great, and I think focusing on her was really smart. The case that they were solving, I think that it was very engaging. I think that there is this sort of racial metaphor. It is a fable, which I think is great, but I think that there are other messages that you can take out of the film. I think the anti-bullying message is really good. I think that never giving up message is really good. You can't let fear, particularly fear that is caused by headlines and things like that, fear of the unknown, you can't let that justify hatred, justify treating people badly. You can't let it control your life, control your choices. And so I think that was the main message, and I really responded to that message. Sure, if you overthink it, like any fable or story, there are holes in the sort of the analogies between our culture and Zootopia's culture, our life, because obviously Black people aren't predators. Like, that's ridiculous. So you can't look at it that literally. You have to kind of look at it more from a broader messaging sense. But you can take the sort of the main message that was intended, I think, and have a great discussion with kids about it. And it's just got great characters, amazing animation, the world building, unbelievable, out of this world. The last nominee is called The Red Turtle. And The Red Turtle is a combined project between Studio Ghibli and a European-Belgian company that was working on it. And it really feels like some kind of mashup of Song of the Sea and Secret of the Kells, Tom Moore style of animation, and Studio Ghibli. It was supervised by Isao Takahata, and you totally see his influence on the film. It has a sort of watercolor feel to it. In some ways, I feel like this movie is kind of a Terrence Malick version of animation. It feels peaceful and beautiful and reverent, and it's something that you could put on this movie. You could put on this movie and do yoga to it, because it's just so sort of peaceful and lovely and wonderful. And it tells the story of this man who gets shipwrecked on this island, and he wants to escape, but this red turtle has different plans for him, and it tries to stop him from escaping, and then sort of things happen from there, and it becomes a magical realism piece, similar to, if you like things like Beasts of the Southern Wild or something like that, that kind of has a little bit of that flavor to it. And it's something that just I was blown away. The animation is amazing, and the music is so beautiful. My favorite score of the year, and just the songs. It has no dialogue, so unlike other scores that are great and that add a lot, this actually had to do the storytelling a lot of times through the music and through the songs. Sound design is, of course, great. I mean, Studio Ghibli always has amazing sound design, but just the way that the water sounds and the way that the grass sounds and just everything is so lush, and you just feel like you're there. These films are very different, and they all have different things about them that are good. And so I don't know, I really would not have a problem at all with 4 of the films winning, because I feel like they were all really good and really wonderful in different ways, and all would be worthy winners. But if I was just picking my favorite and the one I like the most, I would pick Moana is my favorite of these nominees. I think if I was looking at what I think is objectively the best, I think that The Red Turtle is objectively the best out of these. Even though I think they're all really good. But I think that Zootopia is really wonderful too, and so I have no problem with it winning at all. The right one won, especially in our society that really needs this message right now that Zootopia gave, and that it has been such a wonderful thing for children to learn and have these constructive discussions with their parents, and I think that is fabulous. So if for that reason only, the right one won. And we should be celebrating. There were a lot of people, it really bummed me out after the Oscars. There were a lot of people in the animation community that were upset because Kubo and the Two Strings didn't win. And they were like, oh, it's just all bought and paid by Disney. No, Zootopia was an amazing film. We should be celebrating the strong state of animation, because there were a lot of great films that could have been nominated. There were a lot of good films that wouldn't have been nominated but were still really solid. I mean, there were probably this year alone probably something like 23, 24 films that would have been under consideration in another year. That is crazy. I mean, in other years where you had Shark Tale being nominated, something like Secret Life of Pets probably would have been nominated, but it wasn't even close to being considered this year. So you got to be grateful for the state of animation that we currently have. I mean, this is just great. And so complaining about the fact that a film like Zootopia won, I think it's just really kind of stupid. Sorry. Excited also that Piper won as Best Animated Short. Pixar actually hasn't won in a long time in that category, and that made me very happy because it was my favorite of the 5. So there you go. So let me know what you think. Did the right one win for in your mind with Zootopia? And what do you think of my analysis of the 5 nominees? So thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel and make sure you check out the previous videos that I have done analyzing the different years. So thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel and I'll talk to you later. Bye!